Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brownstone. I'm your host, Dr. Michele, and you're listening to Numbers Don't Lie, where you learn to get out your feelings so you make the best decisions for yourself, your family, and your business. Guys, this is a really fun slash educational slash if you're in business slash if you care about women episode. So you'll see exactly what I'm talking about as we get into it. But I have a guest that is familiar to the platform. She's been on Numbers Don't Lie a couple times before. But she's one of those really talented people that's passionate about what she does. So it makes sense for her to come up here multiple times. She is a labor and delivery nurse, and she's really passionate about the field, and she is helping other people in the maternal health space thrive as well. So for my fellow entrepreneurs out there, you all know how I was when you first launched out there, and perhaps you didn't know anybody else that was an entrepreneur that could help you. Or maybe they didn't know what they was doing either. We all know people that's been entrepreneurs for 7 years and they still struggling. Okay, it should not be like that. There should be a bit of ease that comes every year, right? So she is helping those entrepreneurs in the maternal health space reach ease faster. I think that's the perfect way to say it, because it's a lot of stuff that we do in the back end that most people don't know about, but it makes our life a lot easier. And so if you meet someone like her that's a successful entrepreneur and knows what she's talking about in her particular field, the two just marry really well if you're in a maternal health space and an entrepreneur. Maybe you're thinking about, entrepreneurship outside of the hospital or outside of the traditional track of what it means to be a nurse or a doula or midwife. I want you to lean in extra further or share this with someone that's in that space and maybe complains that they're tired or complains that they're underpaid or complains that perhaps they don't really have the power to do more than they want to do. This is the podcast episode for you. So without further ado, welcome again to the Numbers Don't Lie stage, Anisha Smith.
Yay! Woo, woo, woo.
Hey,
No,
girl, hey.
hey, Dr. Michele. How are you? Thanks for having me again. I'm always thrilled to come on here.
No, I'm like super excited, y'all.
Yeah.
I held back. I know I said a lot, but I actually held back my excitement because what she's doing is really cool, y'all. So even if you're not in her space, I think you're gonna still find a lot of enjoyment because it's really dope
Yeah.
what she's doing. And by the end of this episode, please make sure look in the description box now and please follow her on LinkedIn because she goes live and she talks about what she's doing and she shows actually does a demo of the platform that she is has provided and created for those birth workers and those in the maternal health space. It's phenomenal, and you're gonna want something like that for yourself, even if you're not in that environment. I promise you will, because she called me on LinkedIn Live, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is it!"
Yes,
So
that's the
y'all look
reaction I
out.
always want to go for. You can't, like, the excitement is authentic. I'm for authentic excitement. I want a surprise. And wow. Yeah.
So before we get too far into it, could you tell us about your journey from being a labor and delivery nurse to
Mhm.
not even just entrepreneurship? Because we've heard that a little bit, but how did you get from I'm passionate about this field to I want to help other people in this field in the entrepreneurship space? Because it's not like you're just a mentor. You know what I'm saying? Like you help people make money.
So, it's a good question. And I'll just tell you a little bit. It's almost like this full circle moment. That's kind of how I'm starting to see it, as I'm getting more and more feedback around those who have been very gracious, very thankful that, I'm trying to provide the space. So, I've been a labor delivery nurse for 24 years. I'm in my 25th year. Started in October. So, of course, in October 2025, it'll be 25
Y'all, I
completed
know she don't
years.
look it. It don't look like she's been about 25 years in
If
as an
anything,
adult in her
right?
career.
Yeah. So I was, and all of my time, all of my hours, all deliveries, all of this time I've spent working as a clinician has been in maternal health, specifically labor and delivery, or very close proximity to it. So it's perinatal, it's the laboring process is antepartum, it's postpartum, it's community health. I was a travel nurse in the labor and delivery area. I did teaching hospitals, I did small rural hospitals. if you named it, like I've taken care of almost any kind of sick person that was pregnant, including HIV, including kidney failure, heart failure, art lines, you name it. And I know half of the audience is probably like, what? But yes. So um I've worked in very high risk situations. I've seen my bandwidth is really wide of the type of care that I've done over the years. And I've loved it. I started in L&D as a OB, like an OR tech. So I was one of the scrub techs while I was waiting to take my board exam. That's how I started my career. And then they hired me on as a new grad, and I stayed in labor and delivery ever since. So that was and I'm still here. I've cut back on all the working, but I am still a clinician. I still do work directly with families. And I've done a lot of entrepreneurial things on the way. And I actually started just in business, and I'm just going to make this brief, but I started my very first business was an eBay store. And that was no. Let's go back further. My very first business was Mary Kay. Was in sales.
Mary
was a Mary Kay consultant.
Girl,
I had not yet
Mary
graduated.
Kay products on right now.
Yes, I listen at Foundation. Listen, okay. I started my very first like independent, self-invested business endeavor was in Mary Kay. It was in sales, and I did that while I was in nursing school into graduating. And then I moved on to physical. So I stayed in the physical space. I got into eBay. I had an eBay store. I was selling clothing. Then I got into more physical with books, and me and my husband we wrote a couple of books together. And then I got into more physical with Reflections by Zaina, which was the largest. This was the most successful business I had. So I mean, you talk about reiteration in business. This is like 4 businesses later, 4 tries later, we were able to grow $1 million brand in products with no brick and mortar store, just using the internet. And I absolutely love the movement that our business brought to healthcare professionals of color, because it allowed them to be represented at work through our badge rails and our other accessories. It took off, and this is in 2016. So I think what happened with me, especially kind of as COVID started wrapping up and the world started opening back up again, and then they started kind of bringing the whole maternal that picture back to the forefront of maternal morbidity and mortality numbers, embarrassingly terrible for the United States. Maternal deaths, primary C-section rates, maternal postpartum depression and suicide. So many things were like, excuse me. Like, and then you've got folks that are afraid to come to the hospital. You've got all these like new things that are coming up. Like, what, you blink and I'm over here doing my thing in business, and I'm doing both things, but I hadn't really kept a really close eye on the pulse of maternal health as it looked as a community, as a country. What are we doing? And I'm a part of this as a labor nurse. I'm in this. And I was like, okay, so I took a step back, just myself as I'm getting into this, 20 plus years. And I'm like, so what can I do? Maybe what can I do? How can I use what I've learned in business to like help? Because we can always get trainings, and there are trainings everywhere, trainings, courses, and all kinds of things that help train folks into being better doulas and being better birth workers and being better, but nothing that really addressed business, running business online, understanding that process of sustainability. And that was something that I did learn while I was out here in these e-commerce streets and in these entrepreneurial streets. I did pick that up. I part of some amazing communities, and I learned a lot, and met a lot of folks. And I'm like, how can I bring this back? Like, how can I bring it back? And so that is where we are right now. It was me deciding to, instead of jumping directly into more education and more courses around, I was like, there's plenty of that out there. I want to do the business side. I want to teach birth workers and passionate maternal health professionals who decide that they want to do something themselves as a business owner, how to do that better, how to be online better, how to have better messaging, how to take the passion and be a passionate caregiver, but also be a very serious business owner who's building for sustainability. So that's where we are. That's where Kendra Connect came from. That's where your ecom strategist came from. It just came from taking what I had learned and giving it a little bit more purpose.
Did you know that data-driven organizations were 19 times more profitable? 19. You heard me right. Perhaps you're asking, what is data-driven and how do I become one of those organizations? I'm so glad you asked. I want you to go take a quiz. It's a simple, quick quiz to help you assess if you are in fact one of those organizations. Head over to mogulbeginnings.com/data into dollars quiz now. That's mogulbeginnings.com. You just go to mogulbeginnings.com and it'll show you the data into dollars quiz. Take it now. You'll see if you're on your way to 19xing your profitability. You're listening to Numbers Don't Lie on KCCR Cityscape. We hope you're enjoying the tunes and all the jams. Make sure you visit our website over at brownstoneworldwide.com to learn about all things Brownstone. You can check out Brownstone Living Magazine and all the great things that we have on the website, as well as the shop. You just got to head over to the website, brownstoneworldwide.com.
Keeping it locked to KCCR Radio,
my station,
the Brownstone Center. And don't forget, no matter where you go, there we are.
As I said, I don't know how I end up getting into these professions where nothing is done for me and I have to do everything from scratch. But this was one of those things. I went looking for templates. I went looking for examples of how I could kind of get this information gathered so that we could collect it as a form. And who's creating the form? I am, because it does not exist in this space. So we said, all right, now you don't have any more excuses. You have an intake form that asks every question under the sun for your moms. You know what's happening with them. You understand how to follow them, how to educate them, who you're attracting. It's all there. And so even if you wanted to generate a form, we have an AI suite for that, So I really was like stacking up pain. What is ailing? What is preventing a lot of these maternal health professionals and birth workers who are trying to do something on the side or build up a business or start an agency? What's preventing them from like really taking off and really being effective in the community, really getting out there? And a lot of it is the tech overwhelm and not necessarily having like any kind of real system in place outside of the very, like the box is maybe this big for delivery. It's really small when you think about the data that you want to collect, or how you want to track mom from preconception. Like the window gets bigger. Now we've got in vitro fertilization on the rise. A lot of moms are getting pregnant through IVF. You got preconception health education. You have the average mother being older, which comes with another subset of risk factors. So you have this huge window, and you could be kind of creating offers in all of these spaces, but because you're not equipped to really take in this information and separate it and have a place for it, know how to ask for it and recall it, you can't really fully serve like you want to serve. And so you just end up on this hamster wheel and you're tired.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you transitioned to talk about Kendra Connect. That is her platforms for these birth workers. But before I get there, I do want to say I love that you're in this space for two reasons. Maybe three. We'll see what happens after I finish this spiel. So the number, I don't know if you know this, but the number one industry for most Black entrepreneurs is like healthcare, social services.
Wow.
And so we find ourselves in these areas that we're passionate about, that we want to help people. So that's one. And that's also a reason why a lot of Black entrepreneurs aren't in the highly paid like they should, because we're in those industries that people don't really want to pay. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Two, I love that you are in an industry that's helping people. So I guess it kind of goes together, because that particular niche helps people. Because I just looked this up, and for you already mentioned how the maternal mortality is abysmal for the United States, and it is. So we compare the United States to other countries. So it says in 2022, the U.S. recorded 22 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births. It doesn't seem like a lot in the grand scheme of 100,000 until it's your mom or your auntie.
It's a lot.
But it said this rate is more than double or triple than that of other high income nations. So we're talking about nations that are comparable to ourselves, like Switzerland. Mm-hmm. Their death rate is 1.2. Norway reported 0. That's crazy. Sweden. Now I really want to have my baby in Sweden. It might need to be Switzerland now. Sweden, nearly 3 deaths.
Yep.
Per 100,000. So this isn't compared to the 22 in US, and it gets worse. It said the situation is even more concerning for Black women in the United States. Black women face a maternal death rate of nearly 50 per 100,000 live births. So compared to 22 overall, Black women, it's 50. So they're like some I won't say third world country, but some other country that doesn't have the necessary
economically poorer countries where the moms live. Yeah,
like we're
the moms
Black
live and they can have
equivalent.
multiple children. Yeah,
and
somehow so we can't get it together. Yeah,
that's why I'm so glad you're in this space. You're in a space to help people that look like you, but also people that look like you that's also in the maternal health, maternal and birth worker space, because it's like they're not paid as much, but it's just like we don't know, and that's what prevents us from really increasing our ability to get paid. It's really just that lack of knowledge, and that's people probably think I'm oversimplifying it, but I promise you I'm not. That knowledge may be, different areas. It could really but one piece could literally change, double or triple your revenue.
Yep.
And so that's why I love
understanding how to make
like they're helping people that really need to be helped, and they can help themselves. Yep. I think that's what me, you, and Rosalie talk about a lot, the ability to help themselves.
Yep.
Because it's like you love what you're doing, but like you got to eat too.
Yep. And that's where the line typically is drawn. It's drawn where you really want to do this work more than you can do it, but you just got to go to work because the work that you want to do is not paying you. So where you don't have to work anywhere else. A lot of these offshoots and these passion projects and doulas and part-time places and, birth workers, people who want to like really enter it, they're starting to even second guess the efforts because they understand that you're not getting into it for money. Unfortunately,
can I park there real quick? I hate that we say that about any field. Like, oh, people don't, because they say that about educators. Yep. Oh, they're not doing it for the money. I mean,
but they are.
Isn't that why we all go to work?
I mean, really.
Like, if we didn't need to do things for money, many of us, even if we're passionate about it, we would probably cut it down quite a bit.
Way down. If you couldn't, I mean, because that's the currency of life here. Like, you need money to sustain.
Just because you're passionate doesn't mean you shouldn't get paid.
Exactly.
Passionate paid.
And I will say I find it to be pervasive in women-led industries.
That part. Maybe we need to get more men, teachers
and nurses, and a lot of domestic jobs that do a ton of work, social work at that, raising children, rearing children, setting examples for them, education, like the huge, like life-changing effects, things that really, truly matter. Kids remember their teachers. Most kids want to be teachers, and that tells you something right there about the influence of education and somebody in your face that is affirmative to you and that is helping bring you up. A lot of moms in maternal health need that same type of support. A lot of them need the exact, and it's like fast forward 20 years and we still can't get it together on the reimbursement side so that we can confidently and happily enter into something like a doula or lactation, something that is paying, that you just got to go in wanting to do it more than wanting to get paid to do it. That's the part that, it just is not, it's not right in my opinion, and most people's opinions, that we still have to decide how much we want to help, because we got to decide what part of our help is going to compensate us in a way that we can even continue, so that we don't transition out to just education and mentorship. A lot of people transition away from direct help, is because they literally are burnt out, can't afford the time it takes to really fully support somebody. And then when they dole out the time they spent hourly because you can't really predict how long a labor is going to be, or you
Yeah.
can't predict how complicated a postpartum visit, or you can't predict these things. When you dole out your time by the hour, peanuts.
I love everything you said. And I think that's why I was like, it's not just true for birth workers, it's true for anybody that wants to launch out into entrepreneurship. Like we've made up this fantasy that as long as, you know, I position myself to say
registered
I'm in business, oh, people with business they gonna flock to me. They need, the market need what I have. And it's just like, well, we don't know you're there.
We don't know who
you are. And then when we come, you're unprofessional. Or you can't handle.
You don't even know what you're offering.
Yeah, we don't know what you do. I still get people that like, oh, I offered something, like I had no idea. And I knew they were an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about that this space is opening up even for as far as insurance. Because it's like that could be a game changer where it's just like now you may actually get an influx of people.
Yeah.
Can you handle the capacity?
Yeah.
Are you still doing your emails and all that stuff manually?
Everything manually. Yeah.
That's going to be very hard for you to grow.
And anybody that's worked in government, I hate to say this, but like we see what slow and ineffective looks like. If you've worked in government. So the small business owner, and I'll say this even for hospitals, because you have some hospitals that can afford to keep up with tech, but hospitals are the next last institution to adapt and to play catch up. Like they're so vast that they can't, they're not mobile.
It's a big machine.
Oh my gosh. And so trying to get thousands and thousands of healthcare providers onto one system or two systems or switch one thing out is a huge ordeal. So just think about how mobile and how much faster you can adapt as an entrepreneur using the tech on the market to go after clients, to support them in all of these different phases now that we keep identifying where the needs are in maternal mental health, in preconception, in antenatal, perinatal, postpartum, lactation. Like there are so many needs that you can develop offers for.
Yeah.
And then you've got the tech that's sitting here like waving at you. Hey, let's get started. You know what I'm saying? Like it's out here. We're almost out of excuses, y'all, because when they start reimbursing, people are going to start scrambling about how can I, who can help me? And I'm telling you right now, you gonna help you, because if you keep near to the ground and you see what's happening, you can see that it's coming. And that's why I have more people reaching out to me that are agency owners. They see what's coming. Like they're getting ready for that influx of birth workers, of lactation, of doulas, of midwives and nurses and birth nurse assistants, and all of the things that are required to support mom outside of the hospital, because moms are opting for home births and birthing center.
They are.
So
you heard the stats I read. That's from the hospital, y'all.
Whole nother need.
It's not even like we're talking about, oh, that's happening in the house. It's happening in the hospital where the professionals are.
Yep.
Women
where the professionals are. Yep.
They're taking their chances at home. Okay.
Yep. At home, in birthing centers, in the bathtub, wherever it is, like, so the needs are there. But you can't sit on the sidelines and just wait to be picked off the bench. Like that's where I see the pain points happening, is that folks get this doula, and I say doulas because it's a really wide, there's just so many more being utilized, and people sliding into that space. There's going to become separation pretty soon. And I've said this to agency owners. You want to make sure your standards are in a way that you are, as an agency owner, hiring and working with and contracting the best. And the best is going to present themselves professionally as a business owner and have the skill set and have the business. I don't even call it acumen. You don't have to be a pro at it, but you need to understand the gravity of the customer journey and how to treat folks and how to answer emails and how to be timely and, you know, how to not quit in the middle of something. Like all of these things, that's where the separation will come from. And these moms and these high net worth families that are looking for the same type of providers, looking for lactation, looking for mental health, you know, therapists, looking for doulas on call, like the income doesn't matter. They're looking for the best.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to present yourself to be able to work with anybody of any income level. And so if you don't treat yourself, you know, in that way, if you don't feel like you are yourself are worthy of that as a business owner, then how do you communicate that message to somebody you're expecting to pay you?
So Anisha, tell the people how they can reach you, because I know they're going to be looking for you now.
Yeah. Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. I am Anisha Smith, RNCOB, on LinkedIn. And that's probably the easiest way to look me up. I am on the internet streets in a few different ways. I'm your e-com strategist on Instagram. I'm also Reflections by Zaina, my product brand. I'm around. And if you are interested and you're in the maternal health space, if you're looking to pull an idea, pull something out of you that you can market and sell to families, to moms, and to be impactful and profitable, that is what Kendra Connect is about. We have a membership that helps grow professionals and birth workers to make offers and to use the tools that we've developed. I have an AI suite of tools. We have a SaaS platform that allows you to market and to build your brand. We want to help you put it all together. And we do that in a community setting. We do it with group coaching. You know, we've got some really cool people in our midst and some great connections. So we of course invite, and this could be med spa. Like I tell people, if you're touching the mom in any capacity with your product or service, even if it's giving her a facial, even if it's giving her Botox, like there's a way that you can have an offer for this space. You don't have to be a birth worker. You can benefit from just learning how to create things that speak specifically to stages in her life, before, during, and after she delivers, and even in that first year. So I invite all of you to come. I invite all of you. KindredConnect.io is the platform that explains kind of what it does. You know, and you can always reach out to me with the contact email that's at the bottom of that website. Anisha@KindredConnect.io is how you can email me as well. So find me on LinkedIn. That's probably the quickest way to get to me.
Yeah, I love you some LinkedIn now. So
yeah. I met some amazing people. Mm-hmm. A great way to find out what's happening, you know, in our space is a very heavy maternal health presence on LinkedIn, as far as just like the networking and the support. There's a lot there. So you can learn a lot, and you can learn a lot about how you can fit into the space if you're looking to create offers in the space. So definitely come join us over there if you're not over there already, for sure.
Thank you, Anisha.
Yes, always a pleasure, Dr. Michele. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Y'all, make sure you connect with Anisha, okay? She's brilliant. And then if you're LinkedIn, go ahead and look me up too, Dr. Michele Josie.
Please look up
LinkedIn,
the data doc.
Mogul Beginnings, my business also has a LinkedIn page. But yes, make sure you visit me there. You can visit me at mogulbeginnings.com for all your data needs. It's particularly for those mission-driven organizations. That's who I love to serve, because you guys can reach people that I cannot. Mm-hmm. So I love to be able to empower you guys. So mogulbeginnings.com. We got some cool tech tools coming out as well to help you get to what you need faster.
Yes.
So reach out to me over there on LinkedIn. I'm all things Mogul Beginnings on social media and all that too. So you can reach me, find me, follow us, learn something. Yes. And also be sure to connect with us on Brownstone. So all things Brownstone Worldwide, that's social media, as well as brownstoneworldwide.com. Got some cool stuff over there. So make sure you go check it out. Alrighty, girl. I had fun.
Absolutely, always.
Hope you guys had a great time listening. And I guess we'll see you on the next episode. See you guys.